Perfect. So moving on to the interpretation of Sunset Boulevard. So this is just looking at some background information, I guess, looking at different periods and areas of Hollywood during the time, one, where this film was directed by Billy Wilder, and also some background information as well. So we know it is of the film noir genre and was filmed in 1950s, in the 1950s period, by Billy Wilder. However, the film explores the different areas of Hollywood. So we kind of begin in that silent film era. As we know, Norma was a silent film star. But during 1911, 1926, silent movies used to be used improved technology, enabling them to be longer, edited, included minimal sounds, effects, and music. But really, the film was based on the faces and the expressions and the visual components rather than the dialogue. There was no dialogue. There were some text over, but no dialogue. The actors did not speak. We didn't need voices, we had faces. That's a quote from the film. Perfect. Moving on to the next era, the talkies of Hollywood. So Hollywood reinvented itself with The Jazz Singer. It was the first feature-length sound movie, but essentially the talkies are just when dialogue came into the mix. So all of a sudden, all those silent film actors and actresses who maybe didn't have the nicest speaking voice were all of a sudden not needed anymore, and a lot of them were treated, I guess, Norma as that wider representation of them, maybe a bit more dramatic in that sense, but she is kind of that symbol of those who were forgotten or who left the industry for that kind of reason, that they weren't needed anymore. And I guess that kind of showcases the how short-lived a career can be in Hollywood. It's not necessarily everlasting. I feel like as I said before, a lot of people, or especially in Sunset Boulevard, a lot of the characters are under the impression that once you enter Hollywood, that's it, you're there. And I think Wilder debunks that, as I said, and that fame is not necessarily everlasting. And I think that's kind of epitomized through the transition between the silent films and the talkies. So that might be some nice authorial intent to include throughout your film, throughout your essay as well. Perfect. So, the golden age of Hollywood. Sunset Boulevard was produced during this time, 1950, and 70% of the American population went to the movies at least once a week. So, very, very popular. And yeah, this is when I guess Hollywood really started booming. So unfortunately for those silent film actors and actresses, missed out on the golden age, like Norma wanting to make her big break back. And then 1954 onwards was kind of the evolution of film. So the euphoria kind of ended quickly as a federal court case mandated competition and forced the studios to divest themselves of their theatre chains. So it's also post-war, and a television set was kind of introduced as well. There was a rise of pop culture, but by 1950, an estimated 10 million homes owned a television, so people didn't necessarily have to go to the theatres anymore to see a movie or to watch a show or something. So I guess that is not the decline, but it was the beginning of the lessened popularity. Perfect. So, I guess what is Wilder's overall message? This could be interpreted in so many ways, but I guess just a nice brief overview one that I've kind of thought up here is through the exploration of the dangers of fame, gender constructs, and the concepts of fiction and reality. So there's some key themes there. Wilder sets out to paint his true image of Hollywood, highlighting his version of the deception of toxicity of the industry, whilst also using black comedy and film noir techniques to critique the industry's opportunism and illusion. So a lot to unpack there, but I guess that kind of sums up the overall authorial intent. There's a lot to pick up there, and there are different avenues that you could explore through that, but I guess as a whole, that could be one interpretation of it. Perfect. So